My name is Kristine Smith. I'm a registered dietitian and the Director of Nutrition Services for Neighborhood House Association. I came from Seattle, that's where I worked before, and I worked for an outpatient eating disorder clinic as the Director of Nutrition Services. I was always into sports, and I realized at some point that nutrition was kind of the other half of what I wanted to do personally with my interest in sports and with my body. And so it made sense to just kind of, start learning something about nutrition. I love my job at Neighborhood House Association, and it is so important to me because the children that we serve are oftentimes from low-income families, and it might be the only meal that the child gets to eat all day. So I just feel like it's my responsibility in this position to be able to give them foods that are healthy and nutrient dense, and to be able to help them develop, because this is the time when nutrition is critical. If we can give them a nutrient dense and balanced menu, then I feel like I've done at least some part of my job. Central Kitchen is located in the heart of San Diego, and we have about 16,000 square feet where we produce meals for Head Start children every day. We send out meals for Head Start children throughout San Diego County. We send out breakfast, lunch, and snack, and supper, and we prepare about 5,000 meals every day. Our menu has to follow certain guidelines set forth by the USDA. We fall underneath the Child and Adult Care Food Program. So the menu met those guidelines, and those guidelines say you have to have a certain number of vegetables and fruits and a certain amount of protein at each meal. And so the menu met those requirements, but I wanted to introduce more whole grains and more fresh fruits and vegetables. We used to use a lot of canned foods and a lot of processed foods, and we could do better. We had a really talented staff, and we had expertise in-house. After I got here, I hired on a chef. So there was just too much expertise to not be doing a better job. Most of our produce is fresh or frozen, and frozen is the next best option because the frozen foods still retain their nutrient value. So with those two changes, then we also started cooking our own food. So it's not just the fact that we're offering a fresh salad or a fresh piece of fruit, but we're also using ovens more. So we actually have recipes, and we follow them, and we use whole grain flour or whole wheat flours in our recipes, and so we offer a more nutrient dense menu now as opposed to what we used to do. Our menu cost is relatively the same as it was before. The changes that we made didn't increase our cost. We had to train our staff better, and we really look for ways to save and balance our budget. So in other words, we sometimes offer salmon on our menu, but other times, on other days, we'll offer beans or rice or pastas, and those things are relatively cheap. So we balance our menu so that sometimes we can afford the more nutrient-dense foods, but we don't offer them maybe as frequently as some of the cheaper foods. It was a big change to go from using primarily processed foods and canned foods to now taking all of our fruits and vegetables out of boxes and having to chop them or putting them into a machine that would chop for us. So it was a big undertaking, and we were a little bit nervous, but we had done some run-throughs beforehand. I mean, anytime you change production like that, you have to do some tests to make sure that it's going to work. So we had tested out some recipes beforehand, and we felt comfortable enough to proceed. We did a live taste test with some children from Head Start on TV, and we didn't have a chance to work with them or prep them before the camera started rolling. So I was nervous. And we had maybe 5 or 6 different dishes set out on the table, and one little girl started digging in with her spoon, and then all the rest of them followed, and then pretty soon they were bringing the bowl in really close, and each one of them was kind of fighting for the bowl, and then they trickled down and then started eating fresh fruits and the vegetables, and it was like the best thing ever for TV. It was the best thing for Head Start kids to be eating that stuff, and it was perfect. I want our menu to be a teaching tool so that not only are kids getting good nutritious meals, but they can go home and talk to their friends and family about what they had at school today and that it was so good and can I please have some at home.